Okay, let's see if this take will be it. I can't tell you how many times I've made this video. Glee Season 3. I enjoyed watching it, but unfortunately this video is going to be mostly things that I don't like, rather than things that I do like, unfortunately. And it's interesting that this season has the exact opposite problem as last season. Last season I felt that the individual episode story arcs, pretty good. Most of the overreaching stuff, not so good. This season is the exact opposite. It's the individual bits that I didn't really like, and it was the overreaching ones that I liked the message of, although unfortunately there is confliction with a lot of those, and again, I still have the moments where I want to tear my hair out. And I really don't want to be in this position, okay? But I don't try to sugarcoat things, as I hope I've made that clear. So why didn't I like the individual, more short-term things? I can't help but think that this is a stupid justification, but it's more that they were just resolved too fast. Just, they lacked a lot of the impact, because the little bits of turmoil at the beginning of the season where the New Directions need a new lineup because they retired Lauren Zeus' character because they can't really use the character anymore. Then bring in Blade to give Kurt and the gay men relationship dynamic the same situation as Finchel, and then as it turned out Britannia this season, where realizing you have feelings is only half the battle, and then it's stained in love. That's hard. All that was good, but just the over-the-top bit of having those purple pianos, it just seemed kind of silly. Then the new antagonists, or less likable people for this season, it didn't feel like that there was a lot of weight to a lot of them. The hockey player, he's there as a gag because the football player dynamic has been phased back. It's not funny anymore because the New Directions have just as much respect as laugh now. You can tell that it's just changed, although I do appreciate that you did some phasing out of Jacob Ben Israel character. Like, that's a guy just, yeah, it was nice to have him at the beginning as a gag, okay, but I'm glad that you stopped using him. Thank you. Right, and then that hockey coach, she was there just to yell, but she doesn't do a good job of it because we know that that's Sue's job, and yes, she's being dialed back. But a lot of the cliches for this show are no longer in effect. So some of that humor just doesn't work anymore, but if you've watched the TV show MASH, you know that they do a lot less humor as the show goes along. Although there's still plenty of funny stuff, but it's a lot more serious bit. So that's where this show is going. Trying to bring back some callbacks doesn't totally work out. Same thing with Jesse. He's a gag, although it does work for introducing the character of Unique, because that's the better name to use for this character, but at the same time, all of these new characters that they're trying to put on this season, Unique, Roy, Joe, Sugar, and Sebastian, yeah. Just that many new people. Now, some of them are because of the Glee project, and they won that, but just... there was just way too many new people. They really should have scaled that back, you know? And then, the bit about Shelby having a new, show choir in an effort to, like, split up New Directions and then have the girls defect for a little bit. It just was childish in my mind, and it also overbalanced the dynamic of Puck and Quinn trying to get Beth back. It was a distraction. It just ate up stuff. Not good. than the overreaching themes. Um, I forgot to mention Sebastian, sorry. I liked what they were doing. A foil to potentially have another gay guy cause issues for Kurt and Blaine, and then what he was doing to New Directions. That crossed a line. That was deep. That was serious. But then, because I guess the writers were like, yeah, we got to get rid of the character now in order to set up the later show choir competitions, we're just going to make you more of a good guy, and then we just deal with that. That was annoying. But then the overreaching things. Santana Kurowski coming out and then having what would be forced out and have them having the problems. Rachel and Finn being told that we support you, but getting married, this is a horrible idea. Puck potentially not graduating. The realization that everyone's going to be leaving high school and that their lives are getting pulled in different directions, causing every student couple in this show to split, including Sam and Mercedes. Because you notice he's not there. Huh? All of that, the messages that they're trying to send are great, even though there are some problems with them, because I can't help but think that half the reason that Brittany was held back there was because the writers were hoping for a season 4 and that they might still be able to use Santana in that regard. Kurt and Blaine, they established that Blaine in season 2 wasn't the same year as Kurt, so that's okay. And then Rachel and Finn, okay, you're looking for love way too young, you two, but because, like, I never dated when I was in high school. I'm way too young for this. Plus, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I didn't realize this until the end of senior year. Are we all going to be going in different directions at the end of high school? Yeah. I changed college plans at the last second. That was meant to only be a 6-month thing and lasted the entirety of community college. Always meant to go back, and I never did. Yeah. So, that's good, but there is a problem to it that I hope to get to later. And also, when it comes to Santana's bit, unfortunately, I just don't get how she is 100% gay, even though I prefer Santana as 100% gay, both on the show and in fan fiction, okay? So I admit I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, but the transition of what was going on in the first 2 seasons, where I didn't even need the fandom to tell me that her and Brittany had a friends with benefits thing, at least even in season 1, that was obvious. And then her realizing that she has feelings for Brittany, and then she's like, oh yeah, I'm 100% gay. The transition from point A to point B, where she's clearly bisexual, but then just turning into 100% gay, horribly done. Just very badly done, unfortunately. It's like you just retconned that. Just like how you retconned the show choir competition rules bits, so that way Vocal Adrenaline can keep being Glee's main opponent. Okay, it just Ryan, just like, how are you not aware of these continuity errors? Although there was a line in one of the special features that is on the last disc of this season that gave the indication. They did not 100% say this, but they really did give the idea that they did a lot of writing for this show on the go, where they're just like seeing where the show takes them. Now, don't get me wrong. No, tons of shows will do that, but they have to have at least a decent idea of what they want beforehand, and then justify the changes that are being made, Yes, there's a thing called studio interference, but the studios aren't interfering here, minus one dynamic that I know of. How many gay men kisses you have as opposed to lesbian kisses. There actually is a justification for that. The network put their foot down on that, which is weird. You would have thought it would have been the other way around. Whatever. But, yeah, it definitely does seem like there's a lot of doing the show as they go along, and that's disappointing. So the handling, the transition of Santana there, not so well done. And then a whole bunch of stuff involving Finn and Puck. Make up your minds, writers. Do you want us to like these guys, or do you not want us to like them? Finn gets Rachel a horrible gift in one episode, and then later in the same episode he gets her a great gift. Finn tries to give inspiring messages to people, and yet he's a total klutz when it comes to his own future, going, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? He does the right thing at the end of the season and lets Rachel go to New York because he's really holding her back, and at the moment he just isn't qualified to handle her ego. Hey, come on. As he is, he's not well suited for her. He lets her go, but then he's like, I'm going to go join the army and redeem my father. That is the stupidest reason to join the military that I've heard in a long time. It is just dumb. Okay? It's just really dumb. And then Puck. How he's trying to convince Quinn that what they're doing is wrong and trying to get Beth back, even though part of him does want it. And he then stops Quinn's efforts to sabotage Shelby, but then in the same episode, or one episode later, he sabotages Shelby, sleeps with her, and keeps making all these MILF comments. Just dude. Ay. At least you had the decency to refuse Quinn, both early on in the season and then later. Now hold on. Part of him did, at the end of the season, still want to tap that, but he knew it wasn't the right move. Especially since Quinn's comments are clearly writers trying to just throw in dialogue to set her and Puck up for potentially having a future later, because Rachel's saying, oh, I always thought that about you and Puck. No! You did not do that at all. That's the writers trying to just change things. And Quinn saying that she loves Puck and that she has a bond with him, the second part is true. The first one, not in the literal sense. She does care for Puck, but it's like, no. In season 1, she did not give her virginity to Puck because she wanted that. No. She wanted sex, despite her reservations. Okay, and Puck was more willing to actually go the distance in a satisfying way than Finn was. Think the male. Come on, just... Writers. Like, what are you doing with these people? This just doesn't make any sense. I do believe, again, the bit where Quinn says that she cares about Puck. She does. Because later in this season, she was trying to be a mentor to all kinds of people, and it was working great. That was nice. Minus the dynamic with Rachel, because, again, these two behavior, it just doesn't make that much sense. Now, for once, Rachel did try to throw in the bit, where she's trying to convince Quinn to lose the skanks. Come back to Glee, we want you there. But she still makes it more about herself. But you can tell she believes what she says. And multiple times throughout the season, she's like, I care about you, Quinn, don't blow this. Part of that is because Shelby is Rachel's mother. But she's more thinking about Quinn than Shelby later on. Early on, I think it is that she cares more about Shelby, but... do you not understand what you mean to me? And when Finn proposes to her, she goes to Quinn before Mr. Shu, Emma, Kurt, and Mercedes. Why are you going to Quinn? Nah. And then Quinn, she asks Rachel about going to Yale. And when she's trying to justify herself and her actions, she spends just as much time trying to justify things to Rachel as to Puck. And then, when she's trying to talk Rachel out of not marrying Finn, she's doing it because she cares about Rachel's future. She's like, you're the best amongst us. Don't do it with Finn, but she has no interest of getting back with Finn, and in fact, she kind of puts Finn down. She's doing it indirectly, but she knows that Finn, at the moment, is not for Rachel, just like how she would actually rationally know that Puck at the moment is not for her. And, right. But then there's also this deleted scene where Rachel's picking up bridesmaid dresses. She's like, you're going to ruin your life by marrying Finn Hudson. Okay, I won't go to the wedding. And then she asks for Rachel's approval to come back to the wedding. And also, you were singing that song for Finn. And only Finn, right? And Rachel almost freaking calls off the wedding because her former arch nemesis isn't there. Just come on! What is the deal with these two in this dynamic? Why are they having the most serious conversations about the futures with each other and care more about the other's opinion? It just doesn't make sense unless... Okay, it's time to let the cat out of the bag. I'm not just saying this stuff about the Rachel and Quinn dynamic because from a writer's standpoint, it doesn't make sense that they feel this way about each other. It's also because, yeah, I ship these two. That one is Leah and Diana in New York while they were filming season 2. That's a fan-made picture of these two reuniting, although get this. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be in Grand Central Station. Doing all this in reverse sucks. But you notice how Rachel's the one getting off the train? Although for all I know there could be something like that in whatever town it is that's near Yale that is similar to that. I doubt it, but it could be. Just, That's why I kept bringing up the idea of Quinn being gay in the last couple of videos, which, by the way, still makes her interactions make a lot more sense in this season. Oh, it doesn't change it when it comes to the Shelby stuff. It doesn't change that. And her attempting to seduce Puck, okay? That's the same thing regardless of sexual orientation, okay? Especially since she wasn't trying to seduce Puck because she wanted sex. It's because she wanted another baby. Yeah. Huh? That doesn't matter if you're straight or gay. Right. But all the Rachel stuff, it makes sense. And it adds another layer to it. And it also again, shows the bit of, repressed lesbian in that form. Because had Quinn been the repressed lesbian, they had set that up perfectly, to do all of that. Especially since also in this season, it opened the potential for Rachel to have a bit where she announces that she has, more feelings for Quinn. I freely admit, okay, that almost all of us, for Barry fans, okay, our evidence is much more for Quinn having feelings for Rachel than Rachel having feelings for Quinn. Our worst arguments for Quinn have the same weight as the strongest arguments for Rachel, all of which occur in this season. Pretty much. Okay, so I'm deliberately trying to hurt my reasoning for my own ship, okay? Because trust me, I've done this before where I support lesbian couples that I know have pretty much 0% chance of happening. Buffy, Lost Girl, iCarly, Victorious, and I've also been in situations where I really dislike the main couple in a show. Buffy, Lost Girl. Yeah. That Lost Girl one is especially ironic, but okay, just if you had done Quinn being the repressed lesbian, suddenly all of this stuff would have made sense. In my mind. Yeah. Okay, so I think that I managed to get almost all of my thoughts in here, and I finally managed to get this video onto 20 minutes. Thank God. My first cut was 30 minutes, and the next one was 26, and it took me forever to get the video off the ground. Yeah. Finally, I got it.